So what exactly is Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021? Besides being an absolute mouthful, this highly specific type of Windows was created by Microsoft for purpose-built appliances, such as kiosks, ATMs, point-of-sale machines, and other such utilities. The intention being you put it on something that you want to run Windows software, but you don't have the ability or desire to upgrade it for a long period of time. You've probably used this version of Windows out in the wild somewhere. Typically, this is purchased by hardware vendors who put it on machines and then sell it to other companies. But more and more people are talking about the feasibility of running it on your own machine at home. Well, taking a gamble, I decided to install it on my main computer. In fact, I am editing this video on it right now. But is this the right decision for you? Well, let's get into that. There are, perhaps, if I think about it deeply enough, reasons to remain on Windows 11. Here are all of the ones I could come up with. For one, it's the easiest option. If you're exhausted with Microsoft's bullying tactics but don't have the energy to keep fighting, I understand. This is not a battle all of us can face. 2. You're worried about graphics card drivers. Now, there are two main alternatives to Windows 11 right now. One has software compatibility issues, and the other will not continue to receive graphics card driver updates for the foreseeable future. Thank you, NVIDIA. You are the gift that keeps on giving. Now, in my personal experience, I have never received a graphics card update that led to a meaningful difference in experience. And the current graphics card drivers for Windows 10 are just fine. To the best of my knowledge, there are no current PC games that do not work on Windows 10. Number 3. You just can't miss out on all of the new exciting features that Windows 11 offers, like Copilot, or Xbox, or the start menu being written in React Native. What are you thinking? But in reality, the one Windows 11 feature I actually do like is that WSL has built-in, out-of-the-box graphics and sound support. Now, you can do this on Windows 10. You do need additional software, and that is something I'm willing to do. But it is a nice feature. Number 4. The most long-term solution to using Windows 10 will let you stay up to date until 2032. And I imagine that the final Windows 11 version will probably work until 2035. So if you want an operating system that stays up to date from 2032 to 2035, assuming that there isn't a better option then, you can jump on that early, I suppose. If none of these sound nice to you, you have two other options. Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC 2021, which I just really like to say, or Linux. But which of these two options should you choose? I actually recommend that you go with Linux if you want the following things. For one, an easier install. Yes, you heard me right. In the year of our Lord 2025, Ubuntu Linux is more easily installable than Enterprise Windows 10. On top of this, NVIDIA, in their own special way, does include up-to-date drivers for many of their cards and for many distributions. So if the software and games that you want to use work on Linux, you're going to have a great time. It's a good idea to check your games library against ProtonDB. I'll put the URL in the description below to see if they work. 2. You plan to upgrade your hardware soon. As for me, I'm editing this on a Surface Pro 9, which I think is virtually impossible to upgrade. However, if you're on a gaming PC and you plan to swap out a ton of components in the next couple of years, there is a slight chance you might need the latest Linux kernel for these components to work properly. Windows 10 LTSC is designed for systems that do not change. So if you're on a laptop, you're using an older machine, or you're content with your current software library, Windows 10 is great for you. If not, I recommend Linux. Thirdly, and this sounds weirdly specific, but if you're interested in machine learning research, machine learning libraries change all the time, and it can be kind of difficult to match the models with the libraries and all that madness. PyTorch can be a pain sometimes. Plus, look, if you're interested in machine learning, why aren't you on Linux in the first place, right? Now that I've thoroughly convinced most of you all to not move forward with Windows 10 LTSC, I am on Windows 10 LTSC and I'm extremely happy with it. I forgot how much Windows 11 annoys the snot out of me. It's like the operating system equivalent of getting your t-shirt snagged in the door handle over and over again every single day. I do not like bloat, I do not like the frankly embarrassing levels of instability, and I'm not a big fan of the new, quote, features, end quote, or the aesthetic. Moreover, Windows 10 LTSC is a great fit for me because, one, I have certain pieces of creative software keeping me on Windows that I don't intend to upgrade anytime soon, such as Persona Studio 1.5 and Moho Pro 13.5. Secondly, I'm not upgrading my hardware. The only hardware upgrade I can even do is a hard drive upgrade, and I already did that. Number 3, I just really like the way Windows 10 looks, feels, and works. Going back to it after being on Windows 11 for a while, I had missed clicking on things and them instantly responding to me. You'd think that would be normal by now. Now, if you're interested in installing Windows 10 LTSC, let me walk you through the steps, as well as a couple of pitfalls that you really should know. But before then, let me talk about this video's sponsor, me. I'm currently selling Gnimble devices, as shown off in my previous video, with the intention of getting them shipped out in time for Christmas. They're electronic typewriters similar to the FreeWrite, but with more features and a substantially lower cost. If you're interested in that project for a friend or family member, I'm only selling them until the end of this month. After that point, I don't plan to sell any more of them. Now, I have a video if you're curious about the device itself, and my Etsy page is in the description below. Okay, enough of that. Back to installing Windows 10. Now, the first step is to prepare your environment. You're going to want to back up all of your files and applications first. I used an external 4TB hard drive and it only took around 30 minutes for me to move everything over. Make sure that you have keys and sign-ins for any purchased software on your machine. Personally, this is between us, I like to keep my passwords and keys written down physically for safety. I know some people say that this is insecure, not security experts. Usually it's just people, talking. But honestly, if someone gets physical access to your computer, they can do whatever they want anyway. As someone who has spent his high school years repairing computers at people's houses by walking them through password reset phone calls, the pros outweigh the tiny hypothetical cons of having your passwords written down. Next, you're going to want a USB thumb drive that has at least 8 gigabytes. It does not matter if it's USB 2 or 3, and it shouldn't really matter if it's USB Type A or C either. USB is USB. Next, you're going to want ISO writing software. Personally, I recommend Rufus, but if the interface looks a little overwhelming to you, another easy alternative is Balena Etcher. Links for both will be in the description below. If you're currently on Wi-Fi, your life will be made much easier by having Ethernet. You can simply plug your machine into the back of your router if it's close enough and you have an Ethernet cable. If it's not, and you're on Wi-Fi, well, you have options, but it's a little bit more involved. Either determine the name of your Wi-Fi adapter by Googling your computer make and model or checking the device manager to see what the name is, or keep a USB Wi-Fi adapter handy that you know the name of. For example, I used a Netgear A1600 for my upgrade. These things are just generally good to have on hand if you like to tinker with operating systems like I do. Now, underrated piece of advice, you are going to want a side device. You can actually use your phone for this if you're running Android and you have some kind of adapter that lets you plug USB thumb drives into your phone. The USB image you create will be formatted in such a way that it can be used like a normal thumb drive, meaning that you will be able to download drivers on the side device, move them to the USB image, and then put them onto the newly upgraded device. Now, one of the big differences between Windows 10 and Windows 10 IoT editions is that IoT does not tend to come with drivers out of the box, and that includes network drivers. However, the solution to this is simple. As long as you have one functioning network adapter, Windows Update will automatically handle all the other driver installations, and your life will be so easy. It'll be great. Lastly, you're going to want an ISO image. Now, the Internet Archive currently has the disk image you want, and I'll put the link in the description below. Once you have backed up all of your files and the disk image is done downloading, you will want to insert the USB stick into your computer. In Rufus, you'll want to select the Select button and click on the newly downloaded ISO file. After that's ready, just click Start and go through the options you want. They're all essentially optional. And Balena Etcher basically works the exact same way. Afterwards, you'll want to reboot your computer into its boot menu. There is no consistent way to do this, but typically it involves holding a certain keyboard key when the computer is booting up. I recommend looking up the make and model of your machine alongside the text boot menu to find out what the key is. However, sometimes it's displayed on the boot screen itself, and the keys most often used for this are Delete, F12, F8, and F2. So sometimes you can just get away with spamming these and a screen will pop up. Now, after selecting and then booting the USB image, you will arrive at the Windows 10 IoT installation screen. It will look essentially the same as the normal Windows 10 installation screen, but with one key difference. You'll be given the option to choose between IoT Enterprise or just Enterprise. To the average consumer who isn't using these machines in an enterprise setting, these are identical, except Enterprise is going out of date much sooner than IoT. If you want to be able to use your machine until 2032, go with IoT. Next, you're going to come across the hard drive partition screen. It likely won't look empty like this screen does. You'll see multiple partitions. Pay attention to the disk names and sizes. One of them is likely your USB thumb drive, while the other is your hard drive. Now, this is the point of no return. Make sure everything is backed up before this. Delete each of the partitions from your main hard drive until there is only one entry here that says empty. And once that's done, select Create a New Partition, select the new partition, and then move forward in the process. From there, installation is actually quite easy. You will eventually arrive at a familiar desktop with almost nothing installed. Now, you might not be able to effortlessly activate this version of Windows like you can as a consumer. If you notice that it says Windows is not activated, if it doesn't bother you, just leave it alone. They're never going to ask you to change this. It's just going to prevent you from doing some personalization, and you're going to see this little watermark in the bottom right corner. However, if you do want to make it go away, there are options. That being getting an enterprise license, of course. You definitely do not want to Google Windows activation script, click on the very first link, and then follow the instructions on the GitHub page. And I definitely did not do this on the machine I am editing this video on. You will need to restart Windows 10 several more times as updates come in, since Windows Update is how most drivers will be installed. Your computer fans may spin up and your screen may flicker a couple times. Keep in mind, that is 100% normal. That is your graphics card drivers being installed. This kind of thing happens in the factory. You just don't tend to see it as a consumer. But anyway, now that's complete. Please let me know what y'all think of this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, I read every comment and I reply to most of them, so leave a comment down below. With that said, I hope y'all have a great day and lots of success with whichever path you decide to choose. Peace.